The fluorescent lights of Mercy General Hospital hummed overhead as Sofia Martinez cradled her newborn daughter against her chest, tears of exhaustion and overwhelming love streaming down her face. Baby Grace had arrived at 4:23 a.m. after 14 hours of labor, and Sofia had faced every contraction, every moment of terror, completely alone. Her phone buzzed on the bedside table, displaying missed calls from her mother, her sister, and her best friend Riley. She'd been too drained to answer anyone yet, but she knew Riley would be waiting anxiously for news. Riley had been her rock throughout the pregnancy, especially after Jake had walked out when Sofia was 6 months along, claiming he wasn't ready for this responsibility. With shaking fingers, Sofia scrolled through her contacts to find Riley's number. The baby stirred in her arms, making tiny mewling sounds that made Sofia's heart clench with fierce protectiveness. "She's here, baby girl," she whispered, snapping a photo of Grace's perfect sleeping face. 7 pounds, 2 ounces of pure miracle. She typed quickly, her vision blurry from exhaustion. "She's finally here. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, born at 4:23 a.m. She's perfect and has the most beautiful eyes. I can't believe I did this alone, but we're both okay. Grace Elizabeth Martinez. Isn't she gorgeous?" Without double-checking the recipient, Sofia hit send and immediately dozed off. Grace nestled safely in her arms. Across town, Roman Torres was just finishing his morning coffee before heading to his construction site when his phone chimed. He glanced at the screen, expecting a work message, but instead saw a photo that made his heart stop. A tiny, perfect baby girl stared back at him from the screen, wrapped in a pink hospital blanket. His hands trembled as he read the accompanying message. The sender was listed as R. Martinez, a contact he'd never bothered to delete after his ex-fiancée Raven Martinez had left town 6 months ago without explanation. "She's finally here. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, born at 4:23 a.m. She's perfect and has the most beautiful eyes. I can't believe I did this alone, but we're both okay. Grace Elizabeth Martinez. Isn't she gorgeous?" Roman's coffee mug slipped from his fingers, shattering on his kitchen floor. Raven had been pregnant? She'd left him without a word, and now she was telling him about their daughter? The timeline fit perfectly. If she'd been early in pregnancy when she disappeared, this could absolutely be his child. The baby did have his dark eyes, and that stubborn little chin looked exactly like his baby photos. His heart hammered against his ribs as he stared at the image. He was a father. He had a daughter named Grace. "Mom!" he shouted, calling his mother who lived next door. "Mom, get Dad and Chloe. You need to come over right now." Diane Torres rushed over in her bathrobe, worry etched across her features. "Roman, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Not a ghost, Mom. A miracle." He showed her the phone, watching as her expression shifted from confusion to wonder to joy. Are you saying? I'm a father. We have to get to the hospital. Grace is at Mercy General, and she's alone." Within minutes, the Torres family was mobilizing. Diane called her husband Frank from his morning shower, Chloe canceled her college classes, and even Nana Rose insisted on coming despite her arthritis. "We should bring flowers," Diane fretted, gathering her purse, "and baby clothes. Oh God, we don't have anything for a baby." "We'll figure it out, Mom. Right now, I just need to see my daughter." As they piled into Frank's truck, Roman stared at the photo again. He'd dreamed of this moment for years, imagined holding his child, being the father he'd never had. Now it was real, even if the circumstances were complicated. He had no idea that across town, a young woman named Sofia was about to have the shock of her life.
The Torres family convoy arrived at Mercy General like a small parade. Frank had stopped at the hospital gift shop, emerging with pink balloons, a massive teddy bear, and flowers, while Diane clutched a hastily purchased newborn outfit from the nearby pharmacy. Chloe carried a diaper bag stuffed with supplies, and Nana Rose moved slowly but determinedly with her walker, refusing to be left behind. "Room 314, Roman announced, checking the directory. His hands shook as he pressed the elevator button. "Maternity ward." "Mija, are you sure about this?" Nana Rose asked gently, her weathered hand touching his arm. Maybe we should call first. She sent me the photo, Nana. She wants me to be here. The elevator dinged softly as it climbed. Roman's mind raced with questions. Why hadn't Raven told him she was pregnant? Why had she left? And most importantly, was she okay? Giving birth alone must have been terrifying. I can't believe I'm a grandmother, Diane whispered, tears in her eyes. Frank, we're grandparents. About time, Frank grumbled, but Roman caught him wiping his eyes when he thought no one was looking. Meanwhile, in room 314, Sophia was finally starting to feel human again. A kind nurse had helped her shower and given her fresh hospital gowns. Grace was sleeping peacefully in the bassinet beside her bed, tiny fists curled near her face. Her phone had been buzzing constantly. Her mother and sister were driving in from Phoenix and would arrive soon. Riley was stuck at work but promised to visit that evening. The only person who hadn't called was Jake, and Sophia was grateful for that small mercy. She was dozing when the sound of multiple voices in the hallway caught her attention. The voices were getting closer, excited and emotional. "This is it," I heard a man say. "Room 314. Sophia frowned. She wasn't expecting anyone yet. Maybe it was a mistake, or perhaps her family had arrived earlier than she had expected. The door burst open, and suddenly her small hospital room was filled with strangers. A tall, broad-shouldered man with kind brown eyes led the group, followed by an older couple, a young woman about Sophia's age, and an elderly lady with a walker. "Raven!" the man exclaimed, rushing toward her bed. "Thank God you're okay! And Grace!" He moved toward the bassinet with such reverence that Sophia was momentarily speechless. "Excuse me?" Sophia finally managed, pulling her hospital gown tighter. "I think you have the wrong room." The older woman stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, honey, she's beautiful. She looks just like Roman when he was born." "Roman?" Sophia's voice cracked with confusion and growing alarm. "Who are you people? What are you doing in my room?" The man, Roman, froze halfway to the bassinet, finally looking directly at Sophia's face. His expression shifted from joy to confusion to dawning horror. "You're not Raven," he whispered. "No, I'm not," Sophia said firmly, her maternal instincts kicking in as she moved protectively closer to Grace's bassinet. "This is my daughter Grace. I don't know who you are or why you think you belong here, but you need to leave. Now!" The room fell silent except for the soft beeping of hospital machines. The Torres family looked at each other in growing embarrassment and confusion. Chloe was the first to speak. "But the text message, the photo..." Roman pulled out his phone with trembling hands, showing Sophia the screen. "You sent me this, about Grace. You said she has my eyes." Sophia's face went pale as she recognized her own words, her own photo. "Oh my God! I was trying to text my friend Riley. I must have..." She scrolled frantically through her contacts, finding R. Martinez and Riley Martinez sitting right next to each other alphabetically. "This is a mistake, a horrible, embarrassing mistake." Frank Torres stepped forward, hat in his hands. "Ma'am, we're so sorry. My son thought..." But Nana Rose was watching Roman, who stood frozen beside the bassinet, staring down at baby Grace with an expression of such longing that it made Sophia's chest ache. Even knowing this wasn't his child, he couldn't seem to look away. "Sometimes," Nana Rose said quietly, "the universe makes its own plans."
The hospital room crackled with tension as both families tried to process the unprecedented situation. Sophia clutched Grace protectively, while the Torres family stood awkwardly by the door, not quite knowing how to gracefully exit from such an intimate mistake. "I should call security," Sophia said, though her voice lacked conviction. Something about the way Roman had looked at Grace, with such pure, instinctive love, had shaken her more than she wanted to admit. "Please don't," Roman said quickly, finally stepping back from the bassinet. "We're leaving. I'm so sorry for bursting in here like this. When I got the text, I thought..." He ran his hands through his dark hair. "I thought my ex-fiancé had our baby without telling me." Diane Torres moved forward hesitantly. "Honey, we brought some things. Baby clothes and diapers. Please, take them as an apology for this intrusion." "I don't need charity," Sophia said stiffly, though she noticed Grace was wearing only a basic hospital onesie. "It's not charity," Chloe spoke up. "It's an, 'I'm sorry we thought you were my brother's baby mama' peace offering." Despite everything, Sophia felt her lips twitch at the younger woman's bluntness. Nana Rose had been quietly observing the interaction,
her sharp eyes moving between Roman and Sophia. "May I ask, dear, where is the baby's father?" Sophia's face hardened. Not here, not anywhere. He decided fatherhood wasn't for him. "Idiota," Nana Rose muttered under her breath, making Chloe snort with suppressed laughter. Roman stepped closer again, his voice gentle. "I know this is none of your business, but do you have help getting home? Someone to drive you?" "My family is driving in from Phoenix. They'll be here soon." "And until then?" Sophia hesitated. The truth was, her mother and sister wouldn't arrive until evening, and she had no idea how she'd manage getting Grace's car seat installed or carrying everything up to her third-floor apartment alone. "We could wait," Roman offered. "Make sure you and Grace get home safely. It's the least I can do after this disaster." "You don't owe me anything," Sophia protested. "Maybe not, but..." He glanced at Grace again, that same tender expression crossing his features. "I held her for about 30 seconds before we realized the mistake. In those 30 seconds, I felt like a father. I know she's not mine, but I can't just walk away knowing you're struggling alone." Frank Torres stepped forward. "Son's always like this. Brings home stray cats, helps neighbors fix their roofs, can't stand seeing someone in need." "I'm not a stray cat," Sophia said dryly. "No," Roman smiled for the first time since entering the room. "You're much prettier than any cat I've rescued." Sophia felt unexpected warmth bloom in her chest. When was the last time someone had called her pretty? Certainly not during her pregnancy when she had felt huge and unattractive. "Look," Diane interjected practically, "why don't we just wait in the hallway until your family arrives? That way you have backup if you need anything, but we're not crowding you." Before Sophia could answer, Grace began to fuss, working up to a full cry. Sophia tried to soothe her, but exhaustion made her movements clumsy. Without thinking, Roman stepped forward. "May I?" "She's probably hungry," Sophia warned. "I raised my sister when our parents worked double shifts. Sometimes babies just need to be held." Against her better judgment, Sophia nodded. Roman lifted Grace with practiced ease, immediately beginning a gentle swaying motion that seemed to calm the infant. He hummed softly under his breath, and Grace's cries faded to contentment. "You're a natural," Chloe observed. "Remember when I was little and had colic? You were the only one who could get me to stop crying." Watching Roman with her daughter, Sophia felt something shift inside her chest. Jake had never shown the slightest interest in learning about babies. He had refused to come to ultrasound appointments and had actually grimaced when she had tried to show him baby clothes. But here was a complete stranger, holding Grace like she was made of spun glass and starlight. "Okay," Sophia said quietly, "you can wait, but just until my family gets here." Nana Rose smiled knowingly from her corner chair. Sometimes she thought the universe knew exactly what it was doing.
6 months later, Roman's phone rang at 2 a.m. He answered on the first ring, instantly alert. "Roman?" Sophia's voice was tight with panic. "Grace has a fever and she's not eating. I'm taking her to the emergency room." "I'm on my way," he said, already pulling on clothes. "Which hospital?" "Mercy General?" "Roman, I'm scared. She's so little and..." "Hey, breathe. Grace is strong, just like her mama. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Roman had been staying at Sophia's apartment 3 nights a week for the past month, their relationship deepening naturally as they learned to navigate parenthood together. Grace had taken her first steps holding on to his fingers, and her first word had been, "Ro-Ro," her attempt at his name. He found Sophia pacing the pediatric emergency waiting room, Grace listless in her arms. Without hesitation, he wrapped both of them in his embrace. "What did the doctor say?" "They're running tests. Could be just a virus, but with babies..." Sophia's voice broke. "What if something's seriously wrong?" "Then we'll handle it," Roman said firmly, "together." The next 6 hours tested every aspect of their relationship. Grace needed an IV, which required holding her down while she screamed. She had a severe ear infection that would require antibiotics and close monitoring. Roman never left Sophia's side, holding Grace when Sophia needed to cry, making phone calls to update both their families, and advocating with the nursing staff when Grace's pain medication was delayed. As dawn broke and Grace finally fell into a peaceful sleep, Sophia looked at Roman with new eyes. "You didn't have to stay. She's not even your biological daughter." Roman cupped Sophia's face gently. Biology doesn't make a father, Sophia. Love does. Showing up does. Being there through the scary nights and the first steps and the emergency room visits, that's what makes a father. And what makes a family? Sophia asked, leaning into his touch. This, Roman said simply, the three of us choosing each other every day. 2 months later, on a sunny Saturday morning, Roman officially adopted Grace Elizabeth Martinez, changing her name to Grace Elizabeth Torres. Judge Patricia Williams, who had presided over dozens of adoption cases, later told her clerk it was the most joyful courtroom she'd ever experienced. The Torres family filled 2 rows of the courtroom gallery. Nana Rose sat in the front, dabbing her eyes with tissues. Sophia's family had driven in from Phoenix, her mother and sister wiping away happy tears. Grace, now 10 months old and crawling everywhere, babbled contentedly in Sophia's arms, wearing a tiny white dress that Diane had sewn specially for the occasion. Mr. Torres, Judge Williams said formally, do you understand that adoption creates a permanent legal relationship between you and Grace Elizabeth Martinez? I do, Your Honor. And do you promise to love, protect, and provide for this child as if she were born to you? Roman looked at Grace, who chose that moment to reach for him with both arms, giggling when he lifted her high. I promise, Your Honor, she already is mine in every way that matters. 6 months after that, Roman proposed to Sophia in the same hospital room where they'd first met. He'd convinced the staff to let them visit for sentimental reasons and had filled the space with sunflowers, Sophia's favorites, which he'd learned during one of their early conversations. This is where our story really started, he said, dropping to one knee while Grace clapped excitedly from her stroller. Where a wrong number became the right choice. Where we became a family. Sophia said yes through happy tears, and Grace's delighted squeals brought half the maternity ward running to see what was happening. A year later, they welcomed twin boys, Michael and David Torres. Grace, now a confident toddler, appointed herself their fierce protector and official big sister. Roman kept the original text message framed in his workshop. She's finally here. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, born at 4:23 a.m. She's perfect and has the most beautiful eyes. Sometimes, as Nana Rose had said that first day in the hospital, the universe knew exactly what it was doing. A wrong number had become the foundation of the most right family any of them could have imagined.